Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're wrestling with something that I think touches almost everyone. It's that huge financial decision that, young people, parents, everyone is struggling with. I mean, the just absolutely obscene cost of higher education.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah, and our source material today argues that the AI revolution isn't just going to nudge tuition rates. It's going to completely demolish the existing university structure
Right.
and replace it with something radically different, saving students, while potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It really is a seismic forecast.
Yeah.
And our mission in this deep dive is to unpack that argument. We really need to look at the mechanics of what's being proposed. Who does AI replace? How does learning itself actually change?
Right.
And why does networking suddenly become like the primary thing you're paying for?
The whole thesis is so stark. It basically links these two massive 21st century disruptors, right?
Yeah.
AI is what we need to bring college affordability back down to earth. And it does that by changing these places from, expensive centers of human-taught knowledge into these lean, giant entrepreneurial networking hubs.
And to really get why the cure is so drastic, you have to look at the illness.
Exactly.
And that means looking at the horrific economics of the current model.
We all know the mantra, college is expensive. But I feel like that phrase almost numbs you to the reality of it. We need the specifics. I mean, how bad has the cost inflation really been?
The figures are genuinely shocking. And they're really the foundation for the whole argument that the model is, as the source calls it, unsustainable.
Okay, so let's hear them.
So let's use 1977 as a baseline.
Right.
4 years of college tuition back then cost about $20,000.
Okay.
Now, if that cost had just, risen with standard inflation.
But the way everything else does.
Exactly. The equivalent price in 2025 dollars would be around $97,000.
$97,000. Okay, that's still a lot of money, a huge investment. But it feels manageable, I guess, for a professional career. So what's the actual number today?
Well, the reality is it hasn't stopped at $97,000. The actual tuition for those 4 years has ballooned to an average of $328,000.
Wow.
Let that sink in. That is an increase of over 1,500% above normal inflation.
That's just not sustainable.
That's the core argument. This kind of price explosion is what forces a structural overhaul. And AI is really the only tool powerful enough to make that kind of extreme change happen.
And it's not just the price, right? The value you get for that price is crumbling at the same time. It's like a pincer movement, and AI is on both sides.
Exactly. For decades, the deal was simple, right? You spend 4 years, you send the money, and your degree guarantees you'll earn more.
Right.
The source argues that this central promise is being, and I quote, quickly destroyed by the AI revolution.
Because AI is coming for knowledge work. That's the term we hear all the time. So what kind of work are we talking about here? The kind that used to require that $300,000 degree.
We're talking about white-collar, information-heavy jobs. So think about bureaucratic stuff, contract analysis, compliance, a lot of middle management tasks that are basically just data synthesis.
Okay.
All these jobs rely on processing huge amounts of text and data. And since AI is just brilliant at that, the source is saying the economic math of a $300,000 degree just doesn't work anymore.
Not if the work it qualifies you for can be done by an AI for pennies.
Precisely.
Which makes the cost issue feel so much more urgent. So, okay, if AI is the solution to this dual crisis, we have to look at the disruptive part, the painful part. Who exactly is getting shown the door here?
The proposed solution is pretty ruthless. It aims at the two most expensive parts of a university, faculty and administration. The source suggests the vast majority of professors would be replaced.
Okay, hold on. The vast majority of professors, that's an extreme claim. Even if an AI can teach, and that's a big if, what about mentoring, ethics, all the human stuff?
The source basically frames that as a luxury.
Right.
A luxury that the current price tag can't afford anymore.
Yeah.
The focus is purely on instruction, on the transfer of knowledge.
Right.
They claim entrepreneurial classes would be taught by AIs that are far more intelligent and knowledgeable about entrepreneurship than almost any human professor.
More knowledgeable. That's a bold claim against people with PhDs. What's the logic there?
The logic is scale and data. An AI professor would have instant access to, real-time global market data. It could run millions of startup scenarios on demand without bias.
Yeah.
It's rid of antiquated case studies and the limits of one person's experience.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And, crucially, they work for pennies on the dollar.
Which solves the huge labor cost for teaching. But what about the other massive cost, the one you mentioned? Administration.
That's the administrative bloat. And that's where the second huge cut happens. Because administration is almost purely knowledge, work managing things, processing forms, compliance. The source says the vast majority of administrators would also be gone.
And that bloat is a real thing. It's not just a perception.
No, it's very real. The source has a specific example that is just.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling.
Okay.
It cites data from Vanderbilt University. Get this. They employ more than one full-time administrator for every 2 undergraduate students.
Wait. Say that again. More than one? For every 2 students?
More than one full-time administrator for every 2 undergrads.
That can't be a typo. That's an unbelievable ratio.
That's an unbelievable ratio.
Yeah.
And when you hear that, it reinforces the claim that the cost crisis is internal. It's bureaucracy. So the source argues that moving to an almost all AI faculty and administration is the only way to make college affordable again.
Okay, so we've automated away the human teacher and the human administrator. The cost plummets. But what's left? What's the point of the campus if the classroom is gone? The source is very clear that the social experience is vital.
It's absolutely non-negotiable. If the academic part can be automated, the only scarce, valuable thing left is human connection. So the dorms, the meal plans, all that stays. Because the importance of the social experience cannot be overestimated.
So students are coming to campus to build their network, not to hear a lecture.
Precisely.
And it's not just general socializing, is it? It's very focused.
Hyper-specific. The main goal is for students to meet their future startup co-founders, to build partnerships, and to start building new AI-driven companies right then and there. That's why these new places are defined as giant 4-year entrepreneurial AI hubs. The physical space exists only for collaboration.
So let's get into that learning model. It's the most radical part of this. If there are no human professors in a classroom, how does anyone learn anything?
It's a total reversal of the model. The institution themselves, they will no longer be doing the teaching.
Okay.
Instead, it's all self-directed. Students learn from their own personal AI tutors, or maybe they get together in study groups with the same AI professor software.
So what does a personal AI tutor do? Is it just like a fancy search engine?
No, it's much more dynamic. It's why the source claims it's better than a lecture. The AI tutor is like a guide. It builds a custom curriculum for you based on your startup idea. It uses the Socratic method. It gives you quizzes in real time. It assesses you instantly. It's completely tailored to what you need to learn for your project.
That sounds incredibly intense, but also you're totally on your own.
You are. And the source notes that there's growing evidence that personal tutors are a much more effective way to learn than a one-size-fits-all lecture.
So the whole structure, it's described as something like a
4-year summer camp.
A summer camp where you're supposed to be building a business around the clock. How do you motivate people if there are no mandatory classes?
That's the key. The motivation comes from the environment itself. It's self-imposed. You can work as hard or as little as you want. Your progress isn't measured by grades.
It's measured by your startup.
Exactly. The quality of your prototype, your business plan, it maximizes your time for what you're actually there for.
Right.
Networking, collaborating, and building.
So the peer pressure to succeed with your venture replaces the professor telling you to show up to class.
Precisely. If you're paying for the network, you're motivated to use it.
Okay, let's pull back to the big picture here. Is this just a wild revolutionary idea, or does the source see this as something that's definitely going to happen?
It's framed as an absolutely unavoidable and very imminent outcome. The source says the shift is absolutely inevitable, and it's coming in a few years rather than a few decades.
A few years.
They see the current system as basically bankrupt. They conclude the era of unreasonably expensive and overly demanding higher education is just about over.
That is a powerful statement. But these are huge entrenched institutions. How does a revolution like this actually start? Who kicks it off?
It's presented as a kind of grassroots entrepreneurial opportunity.
Yeah.
And it targets the very people being failed by the system now.
Which are?
Young people. Recent college grads who maybe can't find a job after paying that massive tuition. The source outlines a plan where they can band together, buy up old, unused college campuses, and found these new AI entrepreneurial institutions themselves.
So the people who got hit the hardest by the old system are the ones who can dismantle it and profit from the new one.
It's a complete reversal of power, yeah. And they're encouraged to see this as a real ambition, not just a public service, but a way to make a bundle from establishing these new colleges.
So this deep dive really has laid it all out. You have this insane cost inflation, 1,500%. You have the value of knowledge work collapsing because of AI.
Mhm.
And the proposed model is just crystal clear. The only thing left that's valuable is the peer network. The university of the future becomes an AI-taught entrepreneurial networking hub. And suddenly, college is affordable again.
And if you think about the implications, they're profound. If an AI can teach better than a human professor and can handle all the admin, then the academic value of a university is fully automated. It's commoditized.
Right.
The only thing the university provides that's unique is the physical space for people to connect.
Which leaves a really interesting question for you, the listener, to think about. If the curriculum is delivered by a perfect, cheap AI tutor and the administration is all automated, is the only unique product left a physical space for collaboration? And if that's true, what does that do to the value and the cost of an online degree?